Today's intermediate Python puzzle will introduce you to list comprehensions. This is one of the most beautiful features in the Python programming language that's truly life-changing when it comes to working with lists. And when you go and work in other languages, after you understand this concept, you'll find that you deeply miss having them in your toolkit. So let's start with an example. And I want to give you a chance to solve a little puzzle without being told what a list comprehension is, and see if you can figure it out on your own. So imagine you're given two function definitions, a function f and a function p. F is just doubling whatever argument you give it, and p will return true if the argument you give it is greater than 2. So the following list comprehension, which is what you see in white here, will evaluate to either A or B. So I've narrowed down the choices for you, and I want to give you 15 seconds or more if you need. Just go ahead and pause the video to try and think through, what do you imagine this syntax, this list comprehension expression will evaluate to given those function definitions. So I'm going to set 15 seconds on the clock, and we'll return in just a moment. So did you get the list A, 4, 6, 8, or B, 6 and 8? Well, before I give you the answer, let's break down what's actually happening here and try and understand the syntax. And first I want to talk about how you would have expressed the same concept using plain old Python syntax without having list comprehensions in your repertoire. So imagine you've got a variable named x's that's an empty list, and a for-in loop where we're looping through each element in the range of 1 through 5, not inclusive of 5. So just as a reminder, this would give us the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? We don't go up to 5. 5 is not included in the range. And then for each value, x will then be assigned subsequently 1, 2, 3, 4. And for each iteration, we're appending f of x, which was doubling x to this x's array, right? So we would have gotten, given this loop, 2, 4, 6, 8, right? But there was an extra if statement, and I'll come back to that in just a moment. First, I want to talk about how would we express this syntax in a list comprehension. Well, we could start with x's, and x's is going to be assigned, and we're going to begin a list comprehension. So the square brackets give you a hint that you're going to be working with a list, right? And now here's where things get a little bit interesting with list comprehensions. And I think one of the reasons that they're a little bit challenging when you first encounter them is that the order in which you see the expressions in one of these is a little bit backwards from how you would express it like we did above. So we saw f of x, right? And f of x for x in, and then a range from 1 to 5. Right? And then if we were to close this right here, this isn't exactly the list comprehension we saw on the previous slide. This is one that will loop through each x in the range of 1 through 4 inclusive, or 1 through 5 exclusive, and call the function f for each element and build a list from that. So after this completes, we would have the list of x's would be, 2, 4, 6, and 8, just like above. Well, what if we only wanted to apply this function f to a subset or some elements in our range conditionally? Well, we could add an if statement. And first I want to try and express this in terms of the syntax that we already know and love, right? So if x is greater than 2, or I could more concretely say if p of x, right? So if p of x, where p was the function that would return true if its argument was greater than 2 and false otherwise, right? So how do we express this in a list comprehension? Well, this is where the ending of the list comprehension was before. So if p of x, right? Now, again, the order of this feels kind of strange. Notice that the for-in, when we express this in Python, came first. And then inside of that loop body, we're saying if this function call returns true, then we'll go and append, f of x to our list. With list comprehension, you have to get comfortable reading this order sort of out of order from what you're comfortable with. So what we're saying is, I want to build a list that is made of calling the function f for each x in the range of 1 through 5 if calling p of x with that x returns true, right? And that feels kind of like a mouthful, but I'm specifically choosing these functions, and we'll look at how we could do it without them on the very next slide, to try and impress upon you that we have a lot of control over the expressions that we write as our, what I'm going to call the transform. So I'm going to call this part of my comprehension the transform. And this part of my list comprehension, the filter. And you'll notice that before we added this conditional to both the code above and our list comprehension, we didn't have to have that there. The filter part is optional as a list comprehension. It's only if you want to apply some filtering to whatever it is that you're iterating through. In this case, it was each x in the range 1 through 5. But generally, we can use anything that we could use in a for in outside of a list comprehension, you can also use in a list comprehension. Okay, great. So if we apply this to the previous example, just to bring us full circle here, and then go look at some more detail, and generalize this to some other examples, let's imagine what this actually would have resulted in. Okay, so here we're seeing for range in 1 through 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4 are going to be the elements that x would be assigned to in each of these iterations of the for in, right? Now, what we just learned is we have to apply this filtering of if p of x is true first. So you can imagine this is like calling p of 1, p of 2, p of 3. Each time we're looping through these 4 values. And this p, which I chose the letter p because we would typically call this in computer science a predicate. This is making a statement about some property of x. And in this case, the property is whether or not it's greater than 2. And 1 is greater than 2, that's false, right? 2 is greater than 2 is also false. 3 is greater than 2 is true. And 4 is greater than 2 is true as well, all right? So after the filtering is applied, we're not going to include 1 and 2 in the results of this list comprehension. We're only going to take 3 and 4, right? And so what are we going to do with 3 and 4? Well, then we're going to call f of x for each of those values. So f of 3 and f of 4. And the results of this are going to be placed into a list, right? So effectively what we're saying is, okay, for the 2 values that were greater than 2, we're going to call the function f on them. We're going to transform them in some way. And this would result in, of course, because we're just doubling the arguments, 6 and 8 as the list that we're building up, right? So let's go look at some more nuance to the list comprehension syntax, right? And I'm going to jump over to another example here. So we were taking the previous example. We can have any expression we want as the expression we're transforming the elements in our iteration with. And we can also optionally, whatever Boolean expression we'd like here for p of x. So the exact same logic previously could have been rewritten as a list comprehension where we said this without calling a function. So we could say x multiplied by 2 for x in range of 1 to 5 if x is greater than 2, right? And we could have expressed this without those function calls, right? The key idea here is we can have any transform expression we'd like that's written in terms of the items we're iterating on. And so I'm going to call this transform again. Transform expression. And again, for the predicate, we can have any Boolean filter expression. And this is optional. And it's important to remember that this is optional because many times you won't see this, this element of the syntax. You'll see this is more rarely used than list comprehension in general. So I'm just going to mark this as optional. All right. Great. So now that we've got a sense for the syntax, we have open square brackets followed by some expression that's written in terms of the variable that we're iterating with. And we'll see another example that's even simpler than this actually. And then finally, we can have some filtering that's applied. So on this very last slide, I want to give you a chance and some more time to try and imagine what would the resulting lists from these two list comprehension examples be. And I'm going to put 15 more seconds on the clock, but I would encourage you to pause it and work through each of these just to get a sense of some other kinds of things you can do with list comprehensions. All right, let's talk through this first example. This is a very common pattern for a list comprehension that you'll see in real-world Python programs. It looks a little bit funny because this transform expression is just the name of the variable that we're using in our for in, right? We think of this as the identity expression. Whatever x is, that's what we're going to use to build up our list, element by element from. So we're going to have a list, and we're going to loop through each element in the range starting from 0. Remember, when you only have one argument to range, it starts from 0. So 0 through 4, not inclusive of 4. So 0, 1, 2, 3, right? And no transformation is applied, right? We're just using each x value directly and populating the list with that. This second example is going to make use of the filtering part of the list comprehension syntax, right? So we've got this filtering expression here. So each of the elements that we iterate through needs to evaluate to true with respect to this conditional. And what are we iterating through? Well, we're going to iterate through, in this example, a list of strings. And I wanted to choose a collection that was different from just a range of numbers, which are easy to work with and think about. But very commonly in real world applications, you'll use lists of other values or collections of other values that you might write a list comprehension with. And here we're using a list of strings. Now, again, we could use any expression here that we want as long as we can iterate through it with a for in. So if I had the same list of strings stored in words variable, if words was assigned this, I could have just written the variable words here as long as it was bound to a list of strings in this way. You've got a lot of flexibility here. For anything you could write a for in loop with, you can do the same thing in a list comprehension. All right, so we're going to be looping through each of these strings, and we're only going to be building up a list out of those that are made or who have a length equal to 3. This was length 2, this is length 3. So this one checks out. That's filtered into the resulting list. And now what are we doing? Well, we're saying whatever s is, so the string wow, and then we're calling the upper method on it is our transform, right? So again, in our transform expression, if you're dealing with something like a string or objects, you can call methods on them. That's totally fine. You can write whatever expression you'd like here. And whatever that expression results in is what's going to populate the list. So the result of this expression would ultimately be a list with the uppercase wow string in it. Isn't that great? So this is a quick introduction to list comprehensions. I hope you enjoyed today's puzzle. If you'd like to see more puzzles like this, leave a like. If there are specific topics you'd like to see covered, please leave a comment in the comments area. And I hope you'll join me for more intermediate Python programming puzzles in the days ahead.